there is gold and sunlight, but still, most nights with hotels are crowded. There are days with dark clouds are shrouded. They don't smile and they never will. Only vultures get the fill. Empty promises is what they hear. No running water from year to year. Hearts that no one desire. That if there is a Messiah, someday he hear their whispered prayer. Covered always bare and scanty. 10 people in a one-bedroom shanty. Forced to sell on the pavement. No vacancy, no employment. Cattle fire cracker from gunshot. Blood just flow when things get hot. Afraid to look out the window. We hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying. Voices from the ghetto. Help us, Father. Does just hold their head up, ball. And them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher eyeing she daughter. Son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for him, hear them bad boys. No bail, that's the black man's choice. Like Shadow say, poverty is hell. She little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Where will it all end? Only time to tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly will growling. Police raid very often. Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping. Next night is a wake that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto. Not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying. Voices from the ghetto. We are not a forgotten people. Yo. With dented pride, they soldier on. Revolutions, great politicians born. And often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they view the world with scorn. From since the day they're born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws, but yet they christen the heroes. Renegades, desperados, forever knocking on heaven's doors. Hear me? Steel band music shatters the silence. Harmony to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young Turks, they're Turk protecting. Almost every young girl expecting. So tomorrow, beds still a borrow. There'll be another voice from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, oh, crying, voices from the ghetto, crying, Pitico, mama, crying, Pitico, papa, crying, voices from the ghetto. Social amenities, Lord, heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get work once it white collar. So if you can't stretch your dollar, it's later for you crack or smoke your pipe. You're short of dead from pride. Life does rip dignity and pride. Till there's only bitterness left inside. And every day is a hustle. Arguments are settled with muscle. Till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet wide. Children through life keep on drifting. It's something they're smoking or sniffing. Maybe they're trying to forget this life of misery and regret. No one to come to their rescue except Capleton and Bourgeois. So they boom boxes the Lego, drum out voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, Lord. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying. I was born and bred in the ghetto. I know what I'm talking about. You don't need time to tell. Outside the siren keep howling. Inside your belly ring growling. Police raid very often. Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping. Next night is a wake that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying. Voices from the ghetto. We are not a forgotten people. Hear our with dented pride, they soldier on. Revolutions, state politicians born. And often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they view the world with scorn. From since the day they're born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws, but yet they christen the heroes. Renegades, desperados, forever knocking on heaven's doors. Hear me? Steel band music shatters the silence. Harmony to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young Turks, they're tough protecting. Almost every young girl expecting. So tomorrow begs the borrow. There'll be another voice from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, crying, voices from the ghetto, crying. Come mama, crying, come papa, crying, voices from the ghetto. Social amenities, Lord, heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get work once it white collar. So if you can't stretch your dollar, it's later for you crack or smoke your pipe. You're short of dead from pride. Life does rip dignity and pride. Till there's only bitterness left inside. And every day is hustle. Arguments are settled with muscle. Till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet wide. Children through life keep on drifting. It's something they're smoking or sniffing. Maybe they're trying to forget this life of misery and regret. No one to come to their rescue except Capleton and Boujou. So they boom boxes the Lego. Drum out voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, Lord. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying. I was born and bred in the ghetto. Crying. I know what I talk about you know. I'm from the ghetto.
Very good evening to you all, singing Sandra. Voices from the Ghetto. Song and images. I did not intend to do a program tonight. I've been traveling for almost 24 hours and just got to my destination. And after 24 hours of travel, you want to take some rest. But then as I got in and checked my messages, I saw one of my daughters sent me a message, said that I get Priya vexed and she carry on. So I said I'd been traveling all day and didn't see what Miss Manik Chand, who is a bright girl. She's bright. Brightness is not a thing that is synonymous with the current PPP, but Priya Manik Chand is a bright woman. You can tell when she speaks that she has done some reading and she has some powers of analysis, which is not what could be said for the vast majority of PPP bigwigs. But like I said, my daughter pointed me to the thing, and I dropped a little note on Facebook, which is not my thing. I really don't. You know, if it's left to me, I wouldn't bother with these people. But Guyana Standard picked up the story, my comments on the visit that the minister and the president made to Tiger Bay. And Guyana Standard, I think, did 2 stories from it. And then I noticed HGTV did a story and so on, and my comments. And the HGTV story was that Dr. Hinds has a reputation for racially explosive stories, whatever it is. Not a word. The story did not quote a word what I said. The Guyana Standard story did quote what I said. The HGTV, and I love HGTV. I'm an admirer of that TV station. I don't know who wrote that story. Not a word, but sought to say in the story that Dr. Hinds has a reputation. But said that Nandalal weighed in last night on what I said. Let me say a couple of things here. When I sit here or in any public space in Guyana and comment on public issues, I earn the right to do so because I've dedicated I've dedicated 50 years of my 65 years to public defense of the poor and the powerless, of standing up for justice in my country. I earned the right, and I'm going to use it because I made it possible. People like me made it possible for Priya Manikchan and the other one, Nandalal and them, to be able to participate in politics today without being thrown in jail every 2 minutes. People like me went to jail so that they could not go to jail. People like me took blows on the street so that they don't have to take blows on the street. Mr. Bishop from a village used to say, I teach little boys to walk and talk, but don't talk to me anyhow. Oh. I teach little boys to walk and talk, but not to talk to me anyhow. And I say those words to these chaps and ladies. They would not have been able to open their mouths in Guyana, much less to become ministers, had it not been for the sweat and the sacrifices of people like myself, including some in the PPP, who they've kicked aside. I will never, as much as I respect Priya Manikchan, I will never allow her to talk to me anyhow. You have not earned that right to talk to me anyhow. I have earned the right to talk to you anyhow, but you have not earned the right to talk to me anyhow. Let me make that lucidly clear. Secondly, I could be bombastic at times. But most of the times, when I open my mouth, I open it from a position of informed commentary and analysis. You see these behind here? I've read most of them. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Some of you all were too busy oppressing people, so you had no time to read books. And so you have no sense of the world in which you live in. You have no historic sense of the world. You have no sociological sense of the world that you live in. You don't know your country. You don't know your people. You're walking around empty-headed. Now, that don't mean you're all in bright. I think Priya Manikchan is bright. I think Nandalal, I hear when he was a schoolboy going to UG, he was a bright student. So you're bright. But you all are not informed. You all are not grounded in an understanding of politics and society. And so, when these people are confronted with reason, with knowledge, with intellectual discourse, they run for cover behind stupid rhetoric. I was very serious on Monday night when I sought to engage this visit to Tiger Bay, I was making several points. The first point I was making was that there is a history of elite people going in to impoverish communities, ostensibly to do something about poverty, but they ending up using the images of poverty as ornaments. There's a long history of that. There is a long history of non-white people, non-black people, non-African people, going into African communities around the world, some of them to do research, some of them to make films, some of them to peddle their politics. And they go into the black communities and they take those images of poverty and they put it in the public domain in order to show the world that African people are not the equal of other peoples. Now, they don't say that. They don't say that. They're never going to say it like that. But the outcome of what they do is exactly that. All of us have grown up with the images of pot-bellied black children in Africa, in the Caribbean, in Latin America. All of us have grown up with those images. Where these big shot people go in and they show those images. And as black people, we have had to live. We have had to live with that shame. In 1905, at the World Trade Fair in Missouri, in the United States of America, they were celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Louisiana Purchase by Thomas Jefferson, who was then president of the United States. And they put on display people, black people, brown people. And what they were doing in that fair was showing how far white people had become, how far white people had come. Because look at these black people, look at these savages. White America's come a long way. We are not like them. And you had white people standing up next to black people, Native Indian people, and taking out pictures and, putting their skin. And I do not expect Priya Manichan to know that. I do not expect President Ali to know that. I do not expect Minister Nandalal to know that. I do not expect Minister Priya Manichan to know. I don't. First of all, it's not their interest. They're not interested in learning the history of peoples. Worse, the history of black people. I don't expect them to know that. And even if they knew it, I don't expect them to care about it. But I know they don't know it. And so what I was trying to do was to teach these people to say, look, what you did there, it may be politics to you, but it's offensive to black people who have had a history of this thing. I was trying to teach them. In the process, I was trying to teach black people. Many of us who would not know that, especially those who were born after independence, weren't part of the Black Power struggle and so on. And it was during the Black Power struggle and the Black Power era that the issue of black studies came to the fore, and Black studies was introduced in universities. In the Caribbean, University of the West Indies didn't teach Black studies. And when Walter Rodney attempted in 1968 to teach it, they wouldn't allow him. He went to the street corner and taught it, and they banned him from Jamaica. And that ignited a whole new movement. That was the formal start of the Caribbean Black Power movement. Coming out of that, there were attempts, some place more than others, to teach Black history in the universities. And so I don't expect the younger Black people, even the younger Blacks, I don't expect a lot of us would know that history. I was trying to teach these people to say, man, you don't do that. And I made the point that they would have been better served to go into Tiger Bay and to listen to those people. All your mouth. Go humble. Listen to them. They don't want hugs and kisses. What they want is to get out of poverty. And they have ideas about how they can get out of poverty. So the second thing I was doing was to tell these people, look, the way you do it is the way Rex Nettleford and other scholars did it in the 1960s with the Rastafarians and the ghetto people, the sociologists. They went into the communities and they listened to people. One of the great strengths of a UC Guyana, and he has many strengths, I've always amazed of that banner capacity to listen to people. You're walking with Brother UC, you're following home. And Jack get Ilike in the head. And Jack confront Brother UC, and Brother UC stops and listens to Jack. And you want to drop you home quick to go and hang out. His capacity to listen to people. Walter Rodney's capacity to listen to people. Burnham's capacity. They don't go in the ghetto and run them out and lift up children and swinging them wrong. They listen. You humble yourself in the presence of those people. And I was trying to suggest to them. I wasn't being racial. I wasn't being bombastic. So the second thing I was trying to say to them, look, man, that's not the way you deal with ghetto people. That's not the way you deal with people generally. There's a time when politicians need to shut up, need to humble themselves. So that was the second thing I was trying to tell these people. The third thing I was trying to tell them, that when you go to a place like Tiger Bay, you have to go there armed with a sense of how you are going to deal with poverty. Because those people live poverty every minute of the day, every second of the day. And if you're going there and you want to say something to them, you have to listen to them about their poverty. And if you're going to talk to them about how you as the government intend to deal with this scourge. And they know when you're scamming them. The minute you start talking about basketball court and whatever else they talk about, and you're not talking about how you gonna get them out of poverty, they know you're scamming them. They don't need your basketball court. Basketball is a poor man's game. They put up a basketball court in a minute. They don't need you, the government, to go and give them basketball court, because they know, yes, basketball out of the ghetto, you're going to get 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 basketball players going to come out there. They're going to play for Guyana. They're going to play for whoever else. And they're gone from the ghetto. The misery of the ghetto remains. It is not that sports doesn't get people out of poverty, but it gets individuals out of poverty, not the community. So when you go and you talking basketball, they know that you're playing in a racial way. Because you think when you go to black people, you got to talk basketball and football. If Priya and the president went to Enmore, they're not going to go there and talk to those people about no basketball. They're going there to talk to those people seriously about generating wealth. But they feel that when they go to black communities, they got to talk basketball. We don't need government. Black community don't need government to make them good basketball players. They socialize in that environment that makes them play basketball good. They don't need you to go there and give them basketball and let them people in America send basketball for them. That is not for government. Let all Tiger Bay people send some barrel with basketball for them. Philanthropy. They don't want philanthropy from government. They want policy how going to change their lives fundamentally. That is what I was trying to tell these people. I cited the Buxton proposal by WPA and Professor Clive Thomas, where you give each household in Tiger Bay and the country at large enough money, and you do it by law so they know that you aren't coming to scam them because you put it in law, and you give them enough per household that even if they smell a little, they spend a little small piece buying a drink, it's enough for them to take care of some short-term challenges and enough for them to invest in something that is going to help lift them out of poverty. And if you tie the cash transfer to them sending their children to school, carrying their children to the clinic often, now they don't have to worry because they have a little bit more money or much more money than they ever had. And they are more likely to send their children to school. They are more likely. They don't have an incentive to do it. Going to school is expensive. You all know that. With all the because we care and because we this, teachers still got to go in their pocket and spend money. Parents come to me here all the time and say every week the children coming home, they got to get this, they got to get that. And often the parents can't afford it. So when you see poor people don't send their children to school, it's because going to school is expensive. And I was trying to teach these people and say, look, man, these are not things you all worry about. I worry about it. I worry about it because only yesterday I escaped it. And I live in these communities. I walk these communities. These people come up to me and talk to me. I don't have to go in Tiger Bay and swing them. I had to say, David, I didn't go to Tiger Bay. Let me tell you all something. When I was in Tiger Bay, the WPA's first office was in Tiger Bay. We used to live in Tiger Bay. And these people don't know. What do they know? David Hines and I don't have to go to Tiger Bay. I will go to Tiger Bay. But I don't have to go to Tiger Bay to swing children. I know Tiger Bay. I lived in Tiger Bay because the WPA office was there and we lived there. And these jackasses don't know that, and they fire off at their mouth, talking nonsense. They can never engage issues. So, comrades, I was saying to them, you have to be sensitive to poor people, and you have to be sensitive to black people when you're going in their communities, ostensibly to help them. I remember a certain leader came to my village, and, he was telling people how to, get out of poverty, and he was telling them about selling a certain item. And they were very polite to him. He didn't lift babies and carry on. But when he left, they called me, they said, David, I was stupid, is that chap just tell me that. Oh, wow. So I was saying to political people, you have to be sensitive. I will never go into an Indian community and talk down to Indian people and lift Indian children and no. You have to be respectful of people. You have to be respectful of communities. And that's the point I was making to Ms. Manik-Chan. That's the point I was making to the president. But partly out of ignorance and partly out of arrogance, they sought to respond. David Hines is a fossil and he race, and without addressing the issue of racial and class sensitivity, without addressing the issue of poverty, which is my central issue, without addressing how you're going to deal those things that they talk, they are not going to end poverty in Tiger Bay or anywhere. No basketball court and skills training and those things are good. They're supplementary. They're supplementary. They are not core initiatives that's going to end poverty. And the people in Tiger Bay know that. People gone carrying basketball to them many times before. People gonna tell them about skills training many times before. And the more things change, rearrange, everything remains the same for those people, and they know it. And you going there, and you're compounding the problem. And the son of Africa, the son of African culture, is saying to you, don't do it, man, don't do it. It's gonna come back to haunt you. Don't do it. But oh no, a son or a daughter of Africa must not talk about Africa, must not talk about Africans, must not talk about African Guyanese, must not talk about the scourge of racism. And what those people are engaged in there were unconscious racism. I am not saying that they're conscious, because I think they're ignorant. They're ignorant about what the impact of what they were doing, because they don't study those things. They don't care. So they're ignorant of the sociology. They're ignorant of the sociology. And so I am just trying to educate these people and to say, man, don't do that. It's so insensitive. I heard one, the guy says, so where you all come to tell ghetto people? And they didn't hear him. They didn't hear it yet. It is the most profound question he asks, because so many of them have gone in there to help the ghetto people, and the ghetto people the same way. But what David Hines ever do for black people, and what David Hines ever do. I remember as a small boy, Burnham come into Buxton, and them boxing people used to cuss you bad, and you cuss them back too. And he tell them, when they tell you, what are you going to do for this village by way of policy? Tate and them big man, Brick and them. And Burnham saying, are you going to ask Guyana that, what they do for you? You know, he was bantering with them. And I remember Tate saying to Burnham, he's very serious. He said, if Guyana had, he would have given. You have power. You have power to use the power to make it happen for us. Don't worry, Guyana and we. If Guyana had, he would have given every cent of it. And I remember as a small boy, Burnham stopped bantering because he was respectful. He stopped bantering and he began to reason with those men. Because they were saying to him, don't come and tell me about Guyana must give you because, you know, we are Guyana people. You got the power. You got the power. And Burnham was respectful enough to recognize what the guys were saying and to begin to engage them in discussions. And out of those discourses came a lot of policies. I've said on this program so many times that whether it was the formation of the cooperative bank, whether it was land reform, whether it was GMC, Burnham entrusted Brother U.C. Guyana to spearhead those things. Part of it is Burnham was admitting that Guyana had a better sense of rural life, of so-called ghetto life, because he never moved out. He never moved out. And if you check that period, the period from 64 to around 74, Burnham and Guyana broke away in 1970. Well, if you check that period, there were serious initiatives by way of policy by the PNC government, most of which Jagan supported. There is no substitute for policies. When we say, you know, you give a man a fish rather than teach him to fish, don't worry about all the seriatoms. Basically what they're saying, what that saying means is implement policies. Don't go and tell people about basketball. I mean, we are insulted and you all will never know. They will never know that when you come and telling me and Priya talking about burn something and bring one for me burning, we are insulted by that because you're essentializing some pastimes in the community and saying that is what we are. All we can do is play basketball. All we can do is smoke and burn something. And you're going in there and essentializing it. If them boys and girls burn something, that's their communal habits. They don't need you to go in there and to do yourself. That's their communal habits. They play basketball whether the government go in or don't go in. They don't need you to go in for them to play basketball all the time. And some of them make it out of the ghetto through basketball. They don't need you to go in and play domino. They play domino all the time. They play domino in order to withstand, to survive the indignity of living in those conditions. And all your reply, rather than to reply to me and to say, you know, I disagree with Dr. Hines on that poverty is not the most pressing issue. I won't abuse you if you say you disagree with me. I will say, let's debate. Let's discuss it. But you never dealt with poverty. Nandalal never dealt with poverty. Nandalal sits there and says the PNC will not be in parliament. They will lose every seat because David Hines going to say that he racially divisive. David Hines is responding to racial divisiveness. Priya will not do that in an Indian community. She will go to the Indian community and they will garland her and she will talk to children respectfully. She's not going to lift them half naked and swinging them like she's on a swinger. She will not do that. She's much too respectful of Indian community to do that. And I don't think she realized that she's being disrespectful to black people because they've put this thing in their heads that black people are simplistic. You just give them 2 basketball and 2 football and they're happy. In the old days, they say all you needed to do was to give black people a piece of a watermelon and they're happy. And that thing has come down and they don't understand what they're doing. I am sure the president goes into Indian communities and plays dominoes. I am sure. But you don't see he taking it and putting it on Facebook. It's a way of essentializing black people that we are simplistic. All you need to do is go in and play some domino with me. All you need to go in and lift me up and give me sweet words. They have essentialized that. And they've called it black culture. And they will never do it in Indian communities. They're not going to go into Indian communities and tell them about no basketball court. They're not going to do that. They're going to tell them about tractor. They're going to tell them about better prices of paddy and rice. They're going to tell them about sugar. But you go into our communities and tell them we about basketball and skills training. But which we doing for ourselves in any case. Take a being shot of basketball. But you get billions of dollars coming into this country. And all you can go in that community and tell them about basketball and things and stuff. What about this 70-something-year-old woman? What about the 50-something-year-old woman? Skills training and basketball, you think she get time for that? But no, she doesn't matter. Comrades, sisters and brothers, you know why they're crucifying me? Because I get the number. I have their number. They figure that if they can get me and those few like me out of the way, they control Guyana, they control black people, they control poor people. And so people like myself is not irritant and they always frighten you. You don't go into parliament. Well, let them go to parliament and take all the seats in parliament. Nandalal, for all you practice, you so lack reason. You think if the PPP go in and take all the seats in parliament, you think Guyana will continue to be a normal country? You are such... God, man. I do not believe these people are so ignorant, but when it comes to black people, they just put on a certain kind of ignorance. They want to get rid of the PNC. You all get rid of the PNC, and you all gonna see what the country gonna come to. You want to, you controlling the police force. You controlling the army. You controlling the black labor unions. You controlling some of the local government. You controlling central government. Every black institution you control. The one that left standing is the PNC. And you all are doing your level best to destroy it. Because after then, you all will have total, well, go down. Don't take me advice. Don't take me advice, you all go down. Kill the PNC. Take all the seats in parliament. But because these people don't read, they don't understand political history, they don't understand politics, they spout these nonsense. But I am not going to let them do it. One man standing, I stand. I'm not going to let Nandlal and Priya Manichan and these people talk to me anyhow. Not in Guyana. No. What the APNU and the AFC do for Tiger Bay and if the APNU and AFC are taking the advice that they are giving now and do more pointed things to black people, oh, they would have called them the most racist government. But now, big fork tongue, what you all do for Tiger Bay. You all get, look, I don't have ambition to be president. So I would have shown you all what I would have do for Tiger Bay. You all thank you all heavens that I don't have ambition to be president. Because if I become president, I would show you all what I would do for Tiger Bay. I won't take nothing away from Indians. Forgive black people. But there will have to be some redistribution of the wealth. Which means some of them contracts that you all getting gonna get cut banner. Which means some of the money going on infrastructure, physical infrastructure, gonna get cut by. Every black child will be in school by. There will be affirmative action for Amerindians, Africans, and poor Indians. By, and you get look me and ambitious. That's what you all talking about. What do for black people? These chaps, these young ladies, it's a control mentality. The mentality that they are better equipped to spend money because black people don't know nothing about money. It's control. It's control. And some black people are not hip to it yet. But when they get hip to it, you all read history. And you all going to see when black people get hip to what you all are trying to do. You all read history. Read the history. All I'm doing is try to warn you all and to say, stop what you all doing. And no matter how you all try to demonize me, its impact is in sections of the Indian community. Check the comments, all the demonization of me online, and see you. You all are destroying Indian people. Capacity to love. Some Indian people, not all. Those who are the zealots, the PPP zealots, you all are destroying their capacity to love. Because you all may have some short-term little dusting on some African people. But the vast number of African people are not falling for you all, miss. I have challenged people in the media to do as they do in other countries. Come and walk with people like me. Since you all don't know, come and walk with people like me and listen what black people say to people like me. You think black people think I'm racist? A lot of times I got to calm them down. I got to calm them down. Sisters and brothers, as I said, I didn't intend to do a program tonight, as I said. I didn't intend to do a program, but I had to come on. And I don't generally like to answer these people. You know, I put this little thing, I so love to get them all worked up. Madam Minister wrote a lot, but never address the substantive issues I raise. When she cools down, I challenge her to a public discussion, not a debate, a public discussion on the Tiger Bay of Guyana and the world, on what to do to rid Tiger Bay of poverty. Let's get serious. Don't sit down and throwing their dads at me. It bunks enough. You all are doing me a thing, you all helping me cause. You all helping me cause. You all are helping black people to recognize that at least they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a week standing up for them. Every time you all seek to demean us, yes, among some sections of the PPP zealots, among sections of East Indians, yes, they're going to cuss me and call me monkey, call me all kind of thing. But that's on them. That's on them. And out of racial respect, I don't cuss back Indians. They just cuss me. But I know when government changes, and it will change, it doesn't go on forever, Indians will seek people like me out. Not Jack Dew, not prayer. They will seek people like me out for raise my voice for them. They did it in the past, under Burnham. They did it under Granger. And if tomorrow it changes, they're going to seek me out. So I don't cuss back Indian people. I respect Indian people, so I won't cuss them back. And I generally don't cuss, even PPP leaders. Generally, I let this thing pass. My friends, them and inbox them to say, man, you must answer these people. You must answer these people. I got a friend in Turkey. You must listen. You must answer these people, you know. And I just say, some people I will never answer. So, you all continue demonizing me. Welcome. Make my day. Make my day. Let Guyana know that there are voices that are not prepared to take you all shit. I don't want nothing from you all. And I ain't fighting you all. You all think Tiger Bay people don't know how much Tiger Bay residents and residents like Tiger Bay are you kill? You all think Tiger Bay people forget that? The hundreds of young black men from Tiger Bay and other ghettos, black ghettos that you all kill, you all think they forget that? You all think they forget that? The PPP government is the bloodiest government in the history of post-colonial Guyana. Matched only the blood that you all spill in this country. The blood of mostly black men that you all spill in this country. The blood that is being spilled on the roads every day, every night. No wonder people think that you swap the country with all the blood. You all think black people forget that? You are arguing with Nigel Hughes whether it's 1,400 or 400. Imagine that. You kill. And Jack Joe said, well, it was not 1,400, it's more like 200 and something. Imagine you're sitting there and glorifying the killing of 200 and something black people that you think you kill. Your government kill. Not you, your government. You say it. That Nigel Hughes, math's bad. It's not 1,400. It's 200 and something. I mean, how can you be so insensitive? And then you go to Tiger Bay. And you're not talking about reparations for killing. In Kenya, during the independence struggle, the Mau Mau rebellion, the British eventually gave reparations to Mau Mau rebels, the families who they killed. The thousands of Kenyans who they killed during that struggle, the British compensated their family. In Jamaica, in 1963, when over 300 Rastafarians were brutally killed by the Bustamante JLP government. A couple of years ago, the JLP government under Andrew Holness apologized to those people and compensated the family. When the hell are you? We don't want no apology from you all. But when are you all going to compensate the families of those hundreds of boys that you all killed? Take that compensation and invest it in lifting the quality of human beings in Tiger Bay. And say it. Say my government killed 200 and something, as you said. And I'm compensating Tiger Bay by giving Tiger Bay an economic development package. Not basketball. The basketball gonna come later. Giving you an economic package that when Priya go back, she wouldn't be swinging half naked little boys and girls, beautiful black boys and girls. Compensate them for their comrades, their fathers and sons that you all kill. You all better don't get me on the other side. People like me, you all should be quiet with. Because you all don't intimidate me. You all don't intimidate me. Me drink company water. You all don't intimidate me. You all can buy me. I don't want. I hope my friends at HGTV listen to this program and listen to the one on Monday night. And please correct that nonsense that you all have written there. I love the press. I will give part of my struggle for a press, a free media. Oh, you are going to see me responding to racism and say, Dr. Hinds has a reputation. Doctor has a reputation for teaching this government the right things. Dr. Hinds has a reputation for transferring what you read in books to an understanding of people's lives. Dr. Hinds has a reputation in the spirit and the history of the people of dealing with serious issues. Dr. Hinds has a reputation of talking about poverty every goddamn day and how to get rid of it. Dr. Hinds have a reputation for racially divisive statement. Racism has divided me and my community. And you all sit there and write those things. I don't know who wrote it. They said the media looks for news, but you all can't do that. I'm not complaining. Like I said, that don't define me. But you are letting them off the hook because they're the racists. Do you see David Hinds going in to Enmore and Port Morant and Bath Settlement, lifting up half naked little Indian children and rocking them? That is the zenith of racism. And maybe you all too don't understand what although I've been teaching it. You all still don't get it. That the prime victims of racism in this country are black people. Amerindians get some of it. Indian people are oppressed as a class. Indian poor people. But black people don't engage in the racial and racist demonization of Indian people. They don't. Baby Skello open his mouth and say something about sex and an Indian goddess, and you're throwing in jail. And Jennifer Ali, you are sensible rehabilitate. So the Indian in Guyana could be rehabilitated, but the African cannot be rehabilitated. Throw him in jail. HGTV, that is racism. Your humble servant, David Hinds, telling you that is racism. Because there is more value on the life of one set of people as opposed to another set of people. Baby Skello was thrown in jail. He cannot be rehabilitated. Jennifer Ali do worse than Baby Skello, and she sent for rehabilitation. Talk to me. Thomas Jefferson, in that book, Notes on the State of Virginia, 1781, I want you all go and read it. He said, Native Indians are white people in brown skins. But black people, I don't know. I suspect that they're inferior in body and mind. But science will have to prove me. If you send Baby Skello and say, go and get rehab, and you send Jennifer Ali and say, go and get rehab, I'll be kush. But you're sending she for rehab, and you're sending her jail. That's racism. That's what I'm fighting. That's what I have a reputation, I hope, of fighting, David Hines makes racially divisive statements. We are in this struggle together, and we are going to. I end tonight by remembering one of the fiercest fighters I've ever come across. A man whose name is not well known. He was short in stature. Sase Omo. Brother Sase Omo, one of the founders of the WPA, passed away this past week. When I came into politics, I remember Sase would come to the street corner in Buxton, and you had all the other stars on the platform, the Rodneys and the Thomas and the Rupnarines and Bagwan and Guyana. And I remember Sase Omo and Takumo Gunsi. You knew that they weren't from the so-called intellectual academic elites. But they would stand on those platforms and they spoke from the depth of their understanding of poverty. Sase was full of passion. He feared no man, no woman. And he became an institution in the WPA. But time goes on and time moves on. And we almost die. The Congo, they say, Congo Creole, see them a go away, one by one. Rastaman say, when my work is over, I will fly away home to Mount Zion. Sase was an Africanist to the core. He was one of the first ones to change his name, following the example of Brother UC. He and Takumo Gunsi. And I remember the two very well. There were others, Mobutu and some of the other names. Ascrians who came together with other organizations to form the WPA. But Sase stood out. He stood out because he was a man of wisdom, a man of passion, sometimes misunderstood because people felt that he was rude. He wasn't rude. He knew that coming from where he came from, where Adishina and Osase and those brothers who came out of the ghetto. Later on, he helped to form ACDA, one of the foundation members of ACDA. He has gone back with the ancestors. And I remember him here tonight, not because he's well known. I have dedicated myself that the little capital that God has blessed me with in this time will be used to represent the history of the tradition from which people like Sase Omo came from which Sase Omo came. Jamaica would say he shot and he talawa. He was. I think in Jamaica, talawa is a female construct. But Sase masculinized that talawaness. Go back to Africa, brother. You've left memories that the young people must come into contact with. I know that some of us are still here. Say hello to Walter. Say hello to Mobutu. Say hello to Chan. Say hello to Todd. Say hello to Diane and Andaye and all the fighters of that time. Tell them we're still standing firm here. Say hello to Ohini. Say hello to Edward Dublin. And when you go to church, say hello to Father Dark and Father Malcolm Rodriguez, Diane Matthews, Brian Rodway. Too many names to remember. But we are still fighting the good struggle. We are still confronting those who would demonize our kind. What good, Brother Sassy?